Not every door was meant to be opened. Sometimes curiosity leads us to places from which we never return the same. Tonight, we have two stories, both based on real testimonies, and both involving a door that should have never been opened. I'm Sir Terrify, and the first story is called The Forbidden Door. I always dreamed of working for myself, but I regretted it with one client. It was the worst experience I've ever had. I'm a massage therapist, and I work until 7 p.m., but one day a client called me late. He said he would pay more, and I accepted. $500 was too little, but $1,500 caught my attention. The client said over the phone that he really needed it. His back hurt from so much weight. I figured he worked lifting something heavy, so I was suspicious, but I accepted. I asked for the address and said I'd arrive in 30 minutes. The weather was very strange. His house was in a remote place surrounded by woods. It was dark. The only light was from my car's headlights. I kept thinking if the $1,500 would really be worth it. But entrepreneurs have to take risks. I got to the house. It was huge, looked like a mansion. He welcomed me, well-dressed. I came in and started the session. After a few minutes, I asked for a break to use the bathroom. He explained how to get there and told me, never open the red door. I just said, okay, and went, but my curiosity was intense. Why that rule? What was behind the red door? Maybe he had some weird fetish. I thought he wouldn't suspect anything if I peeked. So I opened the door. Surprisingly, it wasn't locked. Inside there was a red light, a camera, and several old VHS tapes. I picked one and played it on the TV in the room. That was the worst decision. I should have gone to sleep without seeing it. The tapes showed several torture scenes. A man dressed as a dog would always appear, bringing tools to torture someone tied to a chair. After every torture, he would lick the person's wounds. It was extremely disturbing. One scene showed him putting a hook in the mouth of a woman still alive, writhing in pain. He barked, "Woof, woof, woof." It was disgusting. I felt like throwing up, but I watched until the end, and each scene got worse. In the last one, the dog man picked up a scalpel. On a surgical table, there was a young woman tied up, awake. I could hear her screaming. He got close and slowly started cutting her eye open. I swear, I almost vomited. The woman was thrashing, and the man in the dog costume barked, "Woof, woof." I looked at my phone. 10 minutes had passed. I rushed out of the red room, but I accidentally hit a closet, and a mannequin fell, wearing the exact same costume the dog man was wearing. I quickly put it back in place and rushed to the client. He asked if I got lost. I said, "Yes, sir, but I found it in the end." The guy continued the massage, but the thought kept coming up. Was he the man in the video? I thought to myself, should I just end it here? I had to act natural so he wouldn't suspect. I didn't know what would happen if he found out I saw the tape. I finished the session, got paid, and left. But that wasn't the end. A few weeks later, I got an email. The message said, "You might like this. Curiosity killed a cat." The video showed a man tied to a tree, barbed wire wrapped around his entire body. Only his face was visible, and his eyes were gouged out. The man in the dog costume appeared. He poured some liquid over the guy's eyes. Then, seconds later, crows began pecking at his eye sockets. He screamed, begging for help. "Tied, man! Please stop! Please, someone help me!" It was extremely horrible. I knew for sure he knew I had seen his videos. So I disappeared. I traveled to a friend's house, terrified. Maybe if I vanished, he wouldn't come after me. It really messed up everything in my life. Every day, a different number would call me. I picked up, and he barked. I called the authorities, but the man's house had nothing. It looked abandoned, no evidence. The police thought I was lying. I kept running away. It literally destroyed my dreams. Opening that cursed red door was the worst decision of my life. Weeks passed. Then one day, someone knocked at my door. Knock, knock, knock. When I opened it, there was a box full of VHS tapes and a note that said, "If you keep running, I will come after you." Our next story takes place in the quiet outskirts of Raven Hollow, Oregon. A young man inherits an old house from his mysterious grandfather, a former scientist. Along with the house, he receives a few disturbing rules. But when curiosity takes over, he discovers something that was never meant to be found. This is the story of What's in My Grandpa's Basement. I'm not sure if I should be telling anyone this, but ever since I inherited my grandfather's house, I haven't slept the same. My grandfather wasn't a typical man. He was a scientist, eccentric, private, maybe even paranoid. He rarely spoke to the family. Yet when he died, out of everyone, he left me the house. At first, I was shocked. I was just a regular guy, working a basic job, living in a shared apartment. So, owning a whole house, rent-free? I was excited. But along with the keys, there was a letter, handwritten, aged, and unsettling. To my beloved grandson, I trust only you. You may live in the house, but you must follow the rules. In the basement, there is a hatch. Drop a raw chicken through it every 2 days. If you hear noises, especially around 2:40 a.m., do not investigate. And no matter how loud it gets, never open the basement door. I thought he was just crazy. I even laughed a little. When I first moved in, everything felt normal. The house was a little outdated, smelled like dust and old books, but there was nothing wrong with it. I explored the basement out of curiosity. It was dark, musty, but there was a small metal hatch in the floor. I could lift it just enough to toss something inside. I couldn't see what was below. It was pitch black. But again, I brushed it off. For the first few days, I followed the rule. Bought raw chicken, dropped it down the hatch. It felt ridiculous, but I figured, why not? But around day 5, I forgot. I was busy, distracted. I told myself, it doesn't matter anyway. That night, I woke up. Suddenly, the air in the room felt wrong, like pressure was building in my ears. I glanced at my clock. 2:40 a.m. Then I heard it. Thud, thud, thud. Someone or something was pounding on the basement door. It didn't sound like knocking. It sounded like rage. I live alone. There's no one else in the house. I froze. It got louder. Bam, bam, bam. The door was shaking. I could hear wood cracking. Panicking, I grabbed my phone to call the police, but it was dead. Battery drained. I had just charged it earlier that day. I tiptoed to the closet and hid. My hands were trembling, my breathing shallow. I tried and nothing happened. No sounds, no nightmares. For a while, I convinced myself maybe it was just a one-time hallucination. But the curiosity grew. What was down there? Why did my grandfather build a hatch? What needed to be fed? Why me? One morning, I gave in. I grabbed a flashlight and a kitchen knife, took a deep breath, and opened the basement door. At first, it looked the same, dark, damp. But then I noticed something strange. A panel in the wall slid open when I touched it. Behind it was a hallway, steel-lined, cold. I followed it, heart pounding. It opened into a bunker, like a secret lab. There were old research notes, diagrams, even specimen jars, most broken and empty. Then I saw it, a large metal door with a plaque. The Labyrinth of Icarus underneath. Someone had scratched, "You go in, you don't come out." I should have turned back, but I kept going. The walls were concrete, twisting like a maze. I marked them with chalk to avoid getting lost. Eventually, I reached a massive room, and in it was something. It was tall, over 6 feet. Its body was human, but its head was like that of a bear or maybe a dog, stitched, rotting, unnatural. It was breathing, slow and heavy, its chest rising and falling like it had been asleep for days. I dropped my flashlight. It woke up. Its eyes opened, yellow, wide. Human. I ran. I don't even remember how I got out. Later that day, I called my uncle, told him everything. He didn't believe me. No one would. I tried to sell the house. No luck. So now I feed it. Every 2 days, raw chicken, always fresh. And every night, I pray it doesn't remember I forgot just once. Some nights I still hear it, breathing behind the walls. I've accepted I'll never understand what my grandfather did. But I know one thing for sure. Some rules aren't meant to be broken.